Bonjour and welcome to Microsoft Word Tutorial 2 Basic Text Editing. In this tutorial we're going to create a block style letter. Now this is kind of a standard format for things like cover letters. If you're applying for any kind of position in grad school or fellowships or jobs sometimes, it can often help to include a cover letter because then, I don't know, it helps to tell your story a little bit. Often included with something like a resume. So the basic formatting for a block style letter is everything being formatted, I suppose to the left, which, nope, your left would be over here. And we're going to do this in Microsoft Word. So I'm going to open up the tutorial link. That'll open automatically in a new tab in your browser. Then we will open up Microsoft Word. And I'm going to show you a couple of things that you might not be aware of. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into the Options menu down here. And this is actually just a little thing that can make your life a little less painful. Down here in the options, the general options, there's a thing called Office Theme. Change it to black, and your eyeballs will thank me. It's a lot easier to see. Less eye strain with a darker background. You shouldn't do that. You should change it back if you're going to do something like lay out a flyer. You really want to have it in the same color that it will be presented in, but this is fine because it's a black and white document. It doesn't matter. So, File, we want to create a blank document using the blank document template, just like last time. So here's our blank document. Notice the document looks like it's dark gray here, but if it were to print or if you export it to a PDF, it will be black text on a white background. So this is just because it's easier on your eyes, it's easier to see, and it's easier on my eyes. So let's begin. Let's start at the top of the document. Oh, there's one last thing that I'd like to point out. Right now I'm going to be working with the non-printing characters on. That's this button right here. This little button that uses that paragraph symbol. It's like the backwards P with the double bar. You hit that and it will show you all of the characters that are in the document. Any of those white space characters, they won't print, but you can see where they are in the document, and this allows you to kind of get the lay of the entire document rather than just the documents that print. It's just really nice for keeping everything visible. So let's start with a return address at the top. This is fictional, so I do encourage you to follow along exactly as it's written in the text. Let's say I'm from Bemidji, Minnesota. I'm going to date it, as any letter should be dated. January 20th, 2023 is when I'm recording this lecture, or tutorial. I'm going to address it to a professor at the University of Minnesota, a fictional professor. This person doesn't exist. However, this address does exist, and it is the actual address of the geology department at the University of Minnesota. Dear Dr. Gemstone, comma, enter. In my mind, my headcanon here is that this guy became a professor and changed his surname to Gemstone. Because, sort of like that book Catch-22, where the character's name is Major, 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 Major. I don't know. If you've never read that book, it's great. So try to type these paragraphs exactly as they are in the textbook, typos and all. I may fast forward through this, but I will. I might not. I type pretty fast. Here's the first typo. You'll notice that it underlines in red. Enclosed is an image of the stone I found on my hike a couple weeks ago. Period. Here's the next typo. I believe. Watch this. It automatically corrects it. So some words, some common mistakes will be automatically corrected. I believe it is a meteorite, comma. But my friends don't agree. Some friends, huh? So I wanted to ask someone more knowledgeable. It's another typo, and notice it auto-corrected. about the subject. So if you type it exactly as it is in the text here, it will autocorrect. I think it was this E that was missing. And again, I do want to reiterate that being a good speller is not a sign of being smart. It's just that you're a good speller. The smartest people I know are bad spellers. However, if you want something like this to be taken seriously, you can do this really easy thing called using a spell checker to fix any spelling errors. Always spell check documents. It's a quick, easy thing to do that will ensure that at least that doesn't, cause a roadblock for you when you send this thing in. I know, and here I'm using the wrong there. Watch this. I know there is space. Once I type space after is, it'll change which version of the word there you're using. THERE, THEIR, and then a THEY''RE. If you type EIR and then the word is, it'll correct it to ERE, which is a really handy feature because those are really easy words to mix up. I'll be honest, even I very occasionally do mix them up, even though I'm pretty well versed on which one is which. There is only a small chance that it is a meteorite, but I wanted to make sure. Period. Enter. Sometimes Microsoft Word will try to predict the sorts of things that you're trying to say, and sometimes it's wrong. So some of these corrections are not ones. Some of the automatic corrections are not actually in the text. And if you'll notice the screenshot here, it didn't autocorrect them when I first took these screenshots, and now they are, in fact, being autocorrected, which is kind of nice. Here's how you fix these. The one that is mistaken is this one right here. So if I mouse over it, it turns red. If I right-click on it, it will give me a suggested spelling, and I'll fix it like that. Yeah, got it. This blue is just a style error. It's not technically... double blue underlines are usually punctuation errors. So, oh yeah, it's asking me to put a comma there, I believe. Although it's not working right now. I don't know why it's doing. I think it wants a comma. There. For some reason it was glitching out, and I'm not going to re-record this video, so here we are. So now I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to start typing the next sentence. I understand that you are very busy, and I appreciate you taking the time to verify this for me. Now, if you had a long document of lots of spelling errors, you can go up into the Review tab and run the spelling and grammar corrector, and that will go through your whole document bit by bit and find all the spelling errors and help you fix them. Suggest corrections, anyway. The spell checker has gotten really good over the years, I must say. Other thing that I want you all to notice is that remember how up here you have all these lines here which are double spaced. That's because I was hitting return. Every time you hit return, it adds an extra little bit of space between each line. And Microsoft Word thinks of every bit of text with a return at the end of it as being a paragraph. Those are called paragraphs in Microsoft Word's way of defining things. So here, you'll notice in this paragraph that all of the words are in fact squished up. They're single spaced. But here, where I started a new paragraph, there's a double space. So we're going to do a couple of things to manipulate this as we move through this. Let's finish typing this paragraph, though. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at, and then just type your email name. You'll type an email address, email.com. Period. Enter. Enter. So you'll notice that it turned this into a hyperlink. If this was printed off and you were going to send this in the mail, or as let's assume you're going to be sending this in the snail mail. If you were sending it as a PDF and it was getting sent through an email, then I would say leave the hyperlink. However, if this was being sent in snail mail on printed paper, it's generally considered proper style to, in fact, remove the hyperlink so that it's not formatted blue and underlined. So you right-click on it, and you go up here to remove hyperlink, and then it will turn into regular text. Finally, we'll add our closing. Sincerely, comma, add one extra carriage return, and then put your name. Now, that's our thing. This was presumably like you would print it off and then physically actually sign it with a pen. That's just typically how it works. And like if you were doing it as a PDF, you could use fill and sign to plop a signature in there as well. So let's fix some of the spacing, because this looks silly. This is really difficult to read, and it doesn't look good. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this space right here between this first line and the second line. That'll smush up the return address and make it look like a unified piece of information. There are a couple of different ways to do this. This is the way we're going to do it for today. I'll talk about a little bit later about other shorthand ways of doing this as well. So we'll first click out here on the left column, click, and then we'll go up here to the paragraph styles button right here. Click on that, and then down at the very bottom, there's this button that says remove space after paragraph. Click it, and you'll see it smushes it up. Now, we're going to do the same thing here. We'll select this line. See, if you click out in this left-hand margin, it actually selects the entire paragraph. It's kind of a handy little tool. So click out here, click and drag. So I select just these two, not this one, because I just want to delete this space and this space. So I just want these two paragraphs. Go up to the paragraph styles, go down to remove space after paragraph. And now if you look at it, your eye, let's turn off non-printing characters for a second. Your eye naturally picks out the actual information a lot easier. Your brain recognizes this as an address, this is a date, and this is an address much more readily when they are grouped together like this than they would be if they were some other way. The other way you can do this process is instead of doing the remove space after paragraph, is when you're typing it, you can hit Shift Enter to create a new line break that is not a new paragraph. That's what this is right here. So that keeps this defined as one paragraph. I can do the same thing here. Shift Enter. Shift Enter. And it does the exact same thing. The end result is that the paper layout looks exactly the same. However, behind the scenes, it now thinks of this as a paragraph rather than as 3 paragraphs with no spaces. So that's another way you can do this. Either way is fine with me. Let's see. There's one last little thing that we need to do, and I'm going to show you the bird's eye layout of this document, which is that you have a bunch of text here at the top and a bunch of empty space down here. It's generally considered good style to have the big margins kind of balanced at the top and bottom for visual aesthetic, or for if you wanted to have, say, a like some sort of letterhead. Hang on, my phone is ringing, and I'm going to, there we go. That it's ringing in my ears because it goes through my computer. So hang on, I'll just close that so it doesn't do that anymore. Anyway, let's so we want to balance the top and bottom margins, and this is actually pretty easy to do. You just head over into the Layout tab. So this is our first time leaving the Home tab. We're going over to Layout. This is where all of our ability to kind of change the way a document is laid out is stored. And we're going to change the margins. So we're going to click Margins. None of these is quite right, so we're going to go down to Custom Margins. And this gives us this little dialog right here, which allows us to change each of the different margins at will. And what we're going to do is we're going to change that top margin to 3 inches. Easy as pie. Change top margin to 3 inches. Keep the orientation as it is. Everything else looks fine. Click OK, and you'll see that the text plops down just enough to make it look a little bit more balanced. That way, if you have a letterhead, you can have like whatever logo here and some other stuff over here. You can, if you have some special paper stock that you use for printing or whatever. It also just looks nicer when you do the triple fold for a letter. But that's it. That's the whole tutorial. Let's submit it. File, save, browse. Find yourself your ITECH 100 folder. ITECH 100. I'm going to call this block letter, space, letter. Verify that it's saved as a Word document, and then click save. Excuse me. Finally, let's submit it. So here we are back in a web browser. Go back into Canvas. Start assignment. I'm just going to do the choose file method. Choose file. And then this is already in my ITECH 100 folder, but if you needed to find it again, you could either go to Quick Access and look for the most recent document, and then hit open. Or you could navigate your documents folder, find the folder that it's in, the ITECH 100 folder, and then select the file. There it is. Submit assignment, and you are done. And if you have any questions, be sure to let me know. Other than that, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.